What is going on, guys? Skinny Bone Jones 16 here, and today we have the results / highlights and review for WWE Monday Night Raw for the 27th of January 2014. Raw started off with the Authority coming out and Stephanie McMahon putting over the Royal Rumble. Then Triple H mocks the crowd for not getting what they wanted. He says Randy Orton and Batista were successful in their own respects, but that there's one more stop on the road to WrestleMania, and they have news. Stephanie announces that Randy Orton will defend his WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the Elimination Chamber, and then Daniel Bryan comes out and cuts them off and tells the fans to stop chanting. He sarcastically says that they don't want to upset the Authority. Then he says win, lose, or draw, people are still talking about him. Triple H says it was a good effort, but Bryan says people were talking about him not being in the Royal Rumble match. He says he has asked time and time again to be in the match, but the Authority said no, and Stephanie makes an excuse about caring about his health. Stephanie says they didn't want him to get hurt after what he's been through, but Bryan says that wrestling all three members of the Shield and the Wyatt family. Triple H says they didn't want to be unfair again, but Bryan calls their bluff and says they don't care about him at all. Stephanie asks if he thinks the fans only came here to see him. Then the arena explodes with a yes chant, and Bryan tells them to listen to the fans. He says last night is over, but the Elimination Chamber is coming, and he wants in that match because everyone wants it to happen. Bryan tells Stephanie to step aside, and he tells Triple H he's not leaving until he gets what he wants. Then they stare each other down as the fans chant for Daniel Bryan. Triple H says they aren't the only two people in the ring. Then the Shield's music cues up, so Bryan grabs a chair. He swings at Rollins but misses. Then Reigns and Ambrose stomp him near the ropes until Sheamus and John Cena come out to make the save. So it is announced for the main event that is Sheamus, John Cena, and Daniel Bryan versus the Shield in a 6-man tag match. The opening contest is Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus the Real Americans. Sin Cara starts off by taking both Swagger and Cesaro down with a head scissors / arm drag combination. Then he hits Swagger with a back handspring elbow before sending Swagger outside. Sin Cara hits a suicide dive that sends Swagger into the commentary table. Then Zeb screams at Swagger and tells him to listen. Zeb slaps Jack Swagger and tells him to get in the ring. And then Jack Swagger hits a power slam and a running shoulder tackle as we then go to a commercial break. We get back to see Sin Cara hit a Hurricane Rana. Then he reaches for a tag, but Cesaro runs over and throws Rey off the apron. Cesaro then hits a gut wrench slam for 2, then Swagger runs in, but Rey gets the hot tag and connects with a 619 on Cesaro. He dives on Swagger on the floor, then Sin Cara tries to hit Cesaro with a senton, but Cesaro uppercuts him and hits a neutralizer for the win. I really liked the ending to that match. Your winners are the Real Americans. A highlight in that match for me was Zeb Coulter slapping Jack Swagger. Then Bad News Barrett, aka Wade Barrett, comes out and asks for some decorum and says he has some bad news. And they will see a match between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. He calls it the Battle of Cleveland and says he's glad it's not a battle for Cleveland because no one would win that one. Now, if I remember right, I remember them announcing Dolph Ziggler as being from Hollywood, Florida. So I'm not sure what they're doing there, but the next match was R-Truth with Xavier Woods at commentary versus Fandango. R-Truth starts off by hitting a shoulder block. Fandango rolls outside, then Truth chases him, so Fandango kicks him in the face and whips him into the corner. R-Truth kicks him in the face and hits a suplex stunner for 2, then Fandango comes back with a rolling heel kick and heads up top, but Truth avoids a leg drop and hits What's Up, his finisher, for the win. Brad Maddox comes out and introduces WWE World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton, and Orton says the champ is here because he won in spite of them. Orton says he doesn't care how he won because the result is the same, but he's still in a bad mood because he has to compete in the Elimination Chamber. He asks Brad Maddox whose idea this was, then Batista comes out and says he already told Orton why he's back. He says he doesn't care who he has to face at WrestleMania because he is leaving with the title and nothing is changing that. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman then cut them off, and Heyman says Maddox needs to tell the Authority that they have 2 choices. He says they can make history and have Orton defend his title against Brock, or they can have Brock face the so-called #1 contender, Batista. Heyman says it doesn't matter which way it goes down, but they want an answer from the Authority tonight, or else. Then we had the Battle of Cleveland match, Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. They start off with a headlock. Miz fights out of it and knees Dolph. Then he hits a corner clothesline and follows with an axe handle smash attempt, but Dolph drop kicks him from midair. Dolph applies a sleeper hold, but Miz breaks it and kicks him in the face and calls for a skull-crushing finale, but Dolph counters with the DDT attempt. Miz then countered that with the backbreaker and followed with a figure 4, which it looked like Dolph was in a lot of pain, but he got a rope break, so Miz tries to reapply the hold. He counters with a roll-up, Miz reverses, then they break, and Dolph catches him with a zigzag for the win. The next match was Ryback Soul, aka Curtis Axel and Ryback versus Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. Jimmy starts off by going for a crossbody on Ryback, but he catches him and slams him into the turnbuckles. Then he slams him into the opposite corner and throws his shirt at Jay. Curtis Axel stomps Jimmy a few times and drop kicks him. Then he sends Jimmy into the corner and Ryback suplexes him for a 2 count. Axel chops him a few times and goes after Jay, but he gets caught with the punch and Jimmy finally makes the tag. Jay hits Axel in the corner and follows with a Samoan drop off the ropes, but Ryback had already blind tagged in and sets up for Shell Shocked. Jimmy reaches over and blind tags himself in, then he super kicks Ryback as Jay splashes Curtis Axel on the floor, and Jimmy follows with a top rope splash for the win. Then we had Kofi Kingston come out, and I was hoping he would go against Alexander Rusev from NXT, who we saw debut at the Royal Rumble last night, but he went against Alberto Del Rio. Alberto starts off by punching Kofi in the corner and kicks him in the head, then he chokes him on the ropes, but Kofi comes back with some mounted punches in the corner. Alberto kicks him in the face and clothesline him, then Kofi sends him outside and hits a suicide dive in front of the ramp. Kofi rolls Alberto back in, but Del Rio catches him with an enziguri, then Del Rio slams him into the turnbuckles as the crowd is chanting for JBL. Del Rio is getting pissed when JBL stands up and acknowledges the crowd. Then Del Rio goes for a superplex, but Kofi blocks it and they slug it out. They knock each other out to the floor as we then cut to a commercial break, and we get back to see Kofi fight out of a headlock with a jawbreaker. Kofi elbows Del Rio and counters a super kick with a roll-up, then he hits the boom drop and calls for trouble in paradise, but Del Rio ducks it. Del Rio tries to go outside, Kofi pulls him back in. He goes for a cross arm breaker, but Kofi counters with an SOS, which is how he defeated Randy Orton a few weeks ago for a 2 count on Del Rio. Del Rio comes back and hits a devastating backbreaker and calls for a cross arm breaker, but Kofi counters, so Alberto Del Rio instead hit him with another backstabber for a near fall. Del Rio taunts the crowd heads up top, but Kofi kicks him in the head and tries for a suplex, but Del Rio shoves him back and stomps him on the way down before hitting a super kick for the win, so your winner by pinfall is Alberto Del Rio. Then we had a WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Brotherhood, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, and the Road Dogg, Jesse James, the Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws, the brand new champions. Road Dogg comes out and says they want to put the rumors to rest, and they say they won because they were better. Then he says Cody is good, but not good enough. Cody punches him and the Outlaws roll outside, then the ref officially rings the bell, and Goldust hits Billy Gunn with a shoulder tackle for a near fall. Billy rolls outside and regroups with Road Dogg, then Road Dogg tags in and asks for a test of strength, but Goldust just punches him. Cody goes for a quick near fall before applying an armbar, then Road Dogg breaks it, so Cody clotheslines him and whips him across the ring. He elbows Road Dogg and heads up top, but Road Dogg calls for a break and regroups on the floor again. Road Dogg takes his time getting in, so Cody kicks him in the corner, then he takes him down with the snapmare before dropping some knees on Road Dogg's left arm. Road Dogg comes back with a few jabs, but Cody drop kicks him, then Goldust comes back and chokes Road Dogg on the ropes. Goldust gets backed in the corner for a tag, but he knocks Billy down, then he gets caught with a dropkick as we go to a commercial break. We get back to see Billy whip Goldust and charge the corner, but Goldust power slams him and tries for a tag. Road Dogg gets in first and throws him in the corner, but Goldust drops him with a front flip powerbomb and finally tags Cody back in. Cody leapfrogs Billy and throws some uppercuts and a knee lift, then Road Dogg throws him outside, but Cody lands on the apron and rebounds with a double missile dropkick. Cody goes for a disaster kick, but Billy ducks and clotheslines him. Then Brock Lesnar comes back out with Paul Heyman and takes Cody and Goldust out with some F5s, because we know the New Age Outlaws experienced that. I don't remember when, but it was a little while ago, so, they didn't want any trouble with Brock. Heyman says the Authority didn't listen and made choice number 3, which is seeing Brock Lesnar facing no one. He says they now get to see what happens when Brock doesn't get his way. Brock beats Cody and Goldust with a chair until he breaks it. So the Tag Team Championship match, I guess you could say, was a no contest. Then we had a 4-on-4 Divas match as the Bella Twins and the Funkadactyls take on AJ Lee, Tamina Snuka, Oksana, and Alicia Fox. Cameron talks trash, but Oksana pulls her hair and slams her. Cameron knocks her right down, and Brie hits a crossbody for a near fall. Nikki hits a seated dropkick off the tag, then she hits Alicia with a jawbreaker and runs the ropes, but Alicia hits a backbreaker for 2. AJ gets the tag and she stomps Brie and snapmares her, then she applies a sleeper hold, but Nikki breaks it, so AJ knees her. AJ hits a neckbreaker for a 2 count, then Oksana hits a backbreaker before Tamina press slams Nikki and elbows her in the back. Tamina puts Nikki Bella into the Tree of Woe position and punches her in the corner, but the ref separates them, so Nikki kicks her in the face and makes the tag. Naomi comes in and drop kicks AJ, then she mule kicks AJ off the turnbuckles and follows with a booty pop leg drop for a 2 count. Everyone ends up in the ring after the pin gets broken up, and the Bellas and Cameron triple suplex the other 3 girls as Naomi hits AJ with the rear view for the win. I'm going to be doing some match card predictions, and I think AJ Lee versus Naomi will be happening at the Elimination Chamber. Then we have the main event where the winners are entered into the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Is John Cena, Sheamus, and Daniel Bryan versus The Shield. Cena and Rollins start off the match, and Cena applies a headlock to Rollins before Reigns tags in and hits a shoulder tackle. Then Sheamus makes the tag and he connects with a few punches. Sheamus hits a shoulder tackle and a neckbreaker, then he kicks Rollins in the back and clubs him a few times on the apron. Bryan gets the tag and repeatedly kicks Ambrose in the corner. Then Rollins gets the tag, but Bryan sweeps his leg and puts him in a surfboard stretch. Cena and Sheamus suplex Rollins, then Cena whips him, but Rollins elbows him and clotheslines him for a near fall. We get back from a commercial break to see Cena whip Rollins in the corner, then Rollins springboards off the turnbuckles and hits a somersault neckbreaker for 2. Rollins chokes Cena on the bottom rope and Reigns drop kicks him, then he connects with a Superman punch before calling for a spear. That has got to be one of my favorite moves of Roman Reigns, the Superman punch, and a spear. Cena dives away and Reigns falls out to the floor, then Cena reaches for a tag, but Reigns runs back in and elbows him for another near fall. Ambrose hits Cena in the corner and whips him across the ring, then he applies a single wing chin lock, but Cena fights out and hits a surprise attitude adjustment. Bryan gets the hot tag and he unloads on Rollins with some kicks and falls with a suicide dive to Ambrose on the floor. Bryan runs back in and missile drop kicks Rollins, then he kicks him in the chest, but Reigns breaks up a pin attempt. Sheamus makes the save, but Reigns spears Sheamus, then Cena tries to take him out, but Reigns whips him and spears him too. So it's Bryan and Rollins left. Bryan knees him in the face, but Rollins tries to steal a roll-up. Then he powerbombs Bryan into the top turnbuckle, which I love that move, by the way, and gets a near fall. Rollins leaps off the ropes, Bryan ducks and catches him with a released German suplex. Then he charges the corner, but Rollins avoids a strike and tries to roll him up. Bryan counters with the yes lock, but Ambrose breaks it up. Then Sheamus runs in with the bro kick to Ambrose, but Rollins takes him back out. Bryan ends up knocking Rollins down, and he finally tags Cena, and Reigns also runs in, but Cena puts him in the STF. Reigns breaks his grip right as the Wyatt family come out to the ring, and they go right after John Cena, but Daniel Bryan and Sheamus make the save, clearing the Wyatts from the ring. The Shield are so angry to find out that the winners by disqualification are John Cena, Sheamus, and Daniel Bryan. Regardless, they are the winners, and they are entered into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Elimination Chamber match. So the Shield was furious at this point. That is when we close out Raw. I want to thank you guys all for watching this Raw results/highlights and review video. I really enjoyed reviewing Raw. Hit the like button down below for more. Comment your favorite part of Raw, and we will see you guys later. Peace.